Hello and welcome to this week's episode of the Sports File here on Coach Go TV. I'm your host, Samantha McFadden. Each week, we will be giving you an inside look into the Sarnia-Lambton sports scene, and this week we begin with the Lambton Sportsman's Club. Sporting clays is a form of clay pigeon shooting, often described as golf with a shotgun. I headed out to the Lambton Sportsman Club to talk with their club members about how to properly partake in the sport and what it takes to become a shooter.
Well, this is a sporting clays course. This is Station 1. Some people describe sporting clays as golf with a shotgun because you have a course to walk through. You have, in our case, 13 stations, and each station has a number of targets, and the squad a leader will start. He'll ask for samples of the targets. You may have a squad of anywhere from 2 to 4, 5, 6 people, and then they will rotate through the stations. In this case here, these are true pairs, so they both are thrown at the same time from automatic machines. And when I call and ask for a sample, the puller will hit the buttons and show me the samples, and then I'll load the gun, and then I'll call pull, and they'll send both targets at the same time, and then it's up to me to figure out what to do and how to break them if I can. Gun open, action open at all times. You never load the gun until you step into the station. And if there's any malfunctions, you have to make sure that your gun's empty. When you leave the station, gun's empty. Do not carry a loaded gun or a closed gun. The action is open at all times. Also, safety glasses, shooting glasses, and earplugs. That's a must, and you can do damage to your hearing very easily. Some guys will come out and shoot a whole round of sporting, and that's really not a good thing. You can do damage very quickly, even at one or two shots can hurt your ears, your hearing, affect your hearing. So this is a Beretta, superposed or over and under is what they call it. It's designed for sporting clays. The other thing too, it has different choke tubes, and that's to get into choke tubes. That's what your shot pattern. It determines your shot pattern. If you have a long shot, you put in a tighter choke tube, so your pattern, your amount of shots, say 400 pellets out of a 1 ounce load of number 8 shot, but you want maybe a tight choke, then you might have a close target, so you would have a more open choke so that it spreads it quicker. And they're screw-in chokes, you can take them out and put other ones in. So it's designed more for sporting clays than hunting. Okay, we'll have a look at the sample birds, please. Pull. Bang. Bang. Okay. First of all, you have to see the targets, see what their flight line is, where do you want to hold your gun before you call for the target, and where is the kill zone, or where you pull the trigger. So you look at those things. In your head, you look at that and say, okay, I'm going to hold my gun at 12 o'clock here, and call for the target. I'm going to try to break it at 3 o'clock. In this area over here to my right. And the other one, it's almost a straight in shot, but a little bit of quartering to the right. So you have to be in front of it and under it a little bit on the incomer. And the other one is a matter of lead in front of the target. How fast it's going, and where do you want to swing your gun ahead of the target, keep it moving, and pull the trigger. 2 ways you can go. You can pre-mount, and that's putting the gun up. Well, I'll just do it this way. With it in your shoulder, your head, you can have it on the stock, or you can have it over the stock and watch the targets come, and then mount your gun, swing, go through the target, pull the trigger. Or you can have gun down and here, kind of under your armpit, against your chest, call for the target, mount the gun, pull, Look for the second one, mount the gun, swing it, and pull the trigger. Basically 2 ways to do it. Pre-mounted when it's in your shoulder, or unmounted, it's down at your elbow. Some people prefer to do it that way. They see the target better that way in their mind, and it eliminates extra movement if you have it in here, but sometimes you don't see the target that well, especially if it's a low target. It gets under your gun, and then you lose sight of it, and then you're in trouble. So anyway, whichever you're comfortable with and whichever works for you.
This is my second year in shooting sports. I never really thought of shooting before. I just tried to take that, just took it up. And so I'll be shooting, this is a semi-automatic as opposed to what Chuck had. He's at an over and under. So this is a semi-automatic. You load 2 shells in, one in the chamber and one in the magazine. I didn't know anything about shooting, and it was just a matter of like trying all different things, all the different shooting sports, and finding ones I liked and didn't like. And this is one I happened to like because it's constantly changing. I got all different targets. It's it seems like more of a challenge to me. I had an over and under, but somebody said my triggers weren't very good. So I retired the gun and bought this gun. Pull.
So this is a Remington 12 gauge. It's an 1187 is the model number. It's not mine, so I don't know everything about it, but yeah, it's a semi-automatic shotgun. It's really good for sporting clays because we can load 2 in it. So I grew up doing similar type of shooting, shotgun shooting, mostly trap, which is a little bit different game, but same idea, flying clays, and you try and knock them out of the air with the shotgun. So back in town visiting, and I'm helping my dad clean up around the club. And
so basically for the type of shooting that you just saw or that you're watching with this, for a shotgun, what you need to have is the possession and acquisition license for non-restricted. It's simply called a possession and acquisition license. To go beyond that, the next one becomes a restricted possession and acquisition license, which you would need for handguns or restricted firearms. For the non-restricted PAL or possession and acquisition license, the course is approximately 8 to 10 hours of mandatory classroom time, and then there's a test afterwards. The maximum charge for the cost for that test, it's mandated by the ministry, is $150. And then there's also a book that you purchase to go along with it. It's $21. And that gives you the information you need for both the non-restricted PAL and the restricted PAL. So if you want to do both courses together, there's also the maximum cost of $260 if you want to do both of them at the same time. Effective January 18th of 2015, with some of the legislation changes, you now have to take the course as a first-time applicant for the PAL license. Previous to that, you could read the book, challenge the course, and simply write the test, but now it's mandatory that you have to take the classroom, the 8 to 10 hours of classroom training. There's a website, www.fseso.org, and that's the Ontario website with all of the firearms instructors and hunter safety instructors. It has their contact information, the areas that they're in, and also most of them list when their next courses are coming up, so that way you can register for a course and take either the regular PAL course, the restricted PAL course, and or the hunter safety course. They do what they call a one-stop shop, and you can do all of it in one weekend. The basic topics that are covered in the course, you have the evolution of firearms. They talk about the different types of ammunition, the different types of actions of firearms. So with the shotguns, you saw a semi-automatic and an over and under. There's also single shot, bolt action, lever action. There's all the different actions. You do a lot of hands-on training with deactivated firearms, so you get lots of hands-on training, just no live fire. And during the course and the test, you have to show proficiency in picking out the different types of actions, loading and unloading with dummy ammunition, and it's all done in a very safe and organized manner. They go through a lot of basic safety The safe handling and carrying procedures. With a shotgun, a lot of times you're moving from station to station, so they go through the fact that it has to be open and empty when you're moving. When you get onto the restricted course, there's different styles of shooting where there's movement within, but normally it's not a situation where it's carrying, as in carrying the firearm on your body. The different handling techniques for restricted and non-restricted firearms, how to properly shoulder the gun like you saw in the with a fella shooting, safety things to do and not do so that you don't get hurt in using the firearm, the different responsibilities that you have as a firearms owner or user, and also the safe storage and transportation of your firearms, whether restricted or non-restricted.
That's all we have for this week's episode of the Sports File here on Coach Go TV. I'm your host, Samantha McFadden, and thanks for watching.